Don't mind if I do. Hey Meg Toes, this is Vention. I have absolutely no useful information to impart to you today, so I thought I would regale you of what happened when I worked on a truck that had a Cat and a Cummins engine in it. There are Caterpillar engines and Cummins engines, so Cat and Cummins. Anyway, my service manager told me to pull a truck inside and it had thrown a water pump belt or an alternator belt, cooling belt, something like that, fan belt, and it was one of those sort of cab forward designs where the engine is jammed underneath the cab where you can't hardly work on it, and jammed into this big fan shroud on the other side, and you can't even see the front of the engine, right? Well, man, there is nothing that can beat salad that you just cut yourself. Nice. A totally different taste than the GMO irradiated stuff you get at the store. Anyway, so I pushed the truck in and then popped the hood and was looking at it, you know, and sure as shit, it had thrown the belt, right? It was off, and I was like, grabbed the belt, and it was all in one piece. It wasn't broken, and then I was feeling around, right? And I was saying, geez. And then my hand encountered something, and it felt like a fur coat, right? And I was thinking, what the heck is that, you know? And then I kind of grabbed some of the fur, and it came out really easy, right? And then I noticed the smell, and it was like, and I looked at it, and it was like tabby cat colored, and I went, oh! And I managed to get my eye just around the fan shroud a little bit and saw this dead cat. Ah! So basically, that truck had both a Cat and a Cummins in it. The Cummins engine. Anyway, so I staggered backward, and with a titanic feat of will, I just kept the throw up from coming up, man. It was coming up, man. I was like, no, I'm not gonna throw up. And my service manager, when I said, oh God, oh, right? A couple of mechanics came by, and my service manager came out, and I said, oh my God, there's a dead cat in there, oh! Because right about then, right as soon as I pulled the fur out and looked at it, then I noticed the smell. And I started sweating, and I was like, oh man, and then barf was coming up, but I held it down, and then my service manager said, Vention, you've got to get that cat out of there. And I said to him, I can't. It ain't happening. Where does that leave us? Meaning that if you have to fire me over this, I'll understand, but I cannot get that cat out of there. And then everybody else was like, no way, Jose, I'm not doing it. And then basically one of the feeler washer guys, you know, just looked at me and everybody else with just this pitying scorn, more pity than anything else, and he says, oh, get out of the way. And he pushed a trash can up next to it, had his big huge rubber gloves on, and went in there, pulled the dead cat out as I was going, oh God, oh! And put it in the trash, and then tied it up and took it out to the dumpster. And considering that I would have been fired before I pulled that cat out of there, he saved my job. I bought him lunch every day for about a week and a half. I was so grateful. So man, there are just some people who can do things that other people can't. I mean, I can fix those trucks, no problem. I can do the electrical, I could do all that, but I could not get that dead cat out from the front of that truck. Anyway, and he had no problem, but he couldn't fix anything to save his life. So I worked on a truck that had both a cat and a Cummins in it. Later. Oh, and don't get married.